If you're over 60, listen carefully to what I'm about to say, because this might just be the wake-up call that keeps you from landing in a hospital bed. Or worse, it's not your medication, it's not your cholesterol, and it's not even your weight. The one thing that could be silently damaging your heart every single day is a habit so common you probably never thought twice about it. I'm not here to scare you, I'm here to protect you. Because after 30 years as a heart doctor, I've seen how fast a normal day can turn into a stroke, a heart failure, or a funeral. One man I treated just last winter, 68 years old, walked into my clinic complaining about fatigue. 2 weeks later, he was rushed into emergency bypass surgery. He never saw it coming, and honestly, neither did his family. That's why I made this video for you, to help you spot the invisible threats, the ones hiding behind "I'm fine." Because your heart doesn't care what you say. It cares what you do every morning, every bite, every night. And the good news? You can reverse it. You can take back your health, starting with one small shift today. If you've ever felt tired for no reason, or had your heart beat a little too fast at night, type 1 in the comments. And if not, then just type 0, so I know who's watching. And if this message speaks to you, please subscribe to HeartGuard Seniors, so we never lose touch. 1. The walking mistake that silently ages the heart. You've probably heard this advice before. You should walk more. But I want to challenge that today, because it's not just about walking. It's about how you walk, when you walk, and whether your walk is doing what your heart needs. Let me ask you something honestly. Have you ever thought, well, I walk around the house all day, that's enough, right? I hear that from my patients almost every week. And here's what I gently tell them. No, it's not enough, because casual walking, a few steps here and there, does not move your blood the way your heart needs. It doesn't open your arteries. It doesn't lower your pressure. It doesn't strengthen your heart muscle. And after 60, that matters more than ever. The National Institute on Aging found that older adults who walk at least 30 minutes per day at a steady pace reduce their risk of heart disease by up to 50%. But here's the part no one talks about. When you don't walk intentionally every day, fat starts to settle in the arteries. Blood becomes more sluggish. Pressure rises, and the heart starts to stiffen like an old rubber band left in the sun. You may not feel it, not yet, but your heart does. You get tired more easily. You might feel foggy in the morning. You find it harder to fall asleep, or your ankles swell a bit after dinner. That's not just getting older. That's early-stage cardiovascular strain. One of my patients, Mr. Clark, 71 years old, said to me last fall, "Doc, I thought doing the dishes and walking to the mailbox was enough. But after a scan, we found early signs of narrowing in his arteries. We changed one thing, just one, a 20-minute morning walk, every day. And 3 months later, his blood pressure dropped 15 points. No new meds, just movement. So I'll ask you now, what would happen if you started your day with a walk, just 10 minutes around your block? Could that be your turning point? If you already walk every day, type yes in the comments. If you want to start today, just type start. Because the truth is, your legs are the pump your heart depends on. When they move, your heart lives longer. When they stop, your heart has to fight alone. And that's a fight your heart doesn't deserve. 2. Breakfast that spike heart risk by noon. Let me ask you this. What did you have for breakfast this morning? Be honest. Was it toast with butter? Eggs fried in oil? A slice of bacon? Maybe a sugary coffee and a pastry? If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. That's the American breakfast we all grew up with. Quick, savory, familiar. But if you're over 60, that plate is not breakfast. It's a silent cardiovascular threat. Why? Because the hours between 6 a.m. and 10 a.m. are when your blood is naturally thicker. That means your heart is already working harder to pump. Now add saturated fat, add salt, add sugar, and what you've done is ask a tired heart to lift a barbell before it's even warmed up. I've seen this pattern too many times. Heart attacks don't just happen. They build up over time. And the trigger for most of my patients isn't stress. It's breakfast. Last year, I treated a woman named Lorraine, 66 years old, a retired nurse. She always had a light breakfast, white toast, sausage link, and a splash of creamer in her coffee. She thought it was harmless, but she came into my clinic after feeling dizzy and short of breath every day around 10:30 a.m. Her blood pressure was spiking like a roller coaster. We traced it back to her morning meal. It wasn't her age. It wasn't her genetics. It was the first 15 minutes of her day. Once we changed that to oatmeal with cinnamon, a boiled egg, and a few berries, her symptoms vanished within 3 weeks. Breakfast isn't just fuel, it's medicine, or it's poison. If you start your day with processed meat, fried foods, sugary coffee, white bread or pastries, then you're silently triggering cholesterol buildup, insulin resistance, artery stiffness, and a spike in cortisol and adrenaline that lasts all morning. And you don't feel it until it's too late. So here's my gentle challenge to you. Tomorrow morning, swap the sausage for avocado. Switch the pastry for a handful of nuts or fruit. Just one swap can reset your heart's rhythm. If you're ready to try a heart-healing breakfast, type yes in the comments. If you're unsure, type maybe, and let's talk. Because the truth is, every morning your fork chooses which direction your day goes, toward healing or harm, and your heart knows the difference. 3. The hidden salt crisis in every senior's pantry. I want you to walk over to your kitchen pantry today and look. Pick up that can of soup, that box of crackers, that jar of pickles. Turn it around and read the label. You'll see it. Sodium, sometimes over 1,000 milligrams. And that's in just one serving. Now let me tell you what that means. If you are over 60, your blood vessels are not what they used to be. They are more fragile, more narrow, and more reactive to pressure. When you consume too much sodium, your body holds on to water. That increases the volume of your blood. And with more blood volume, there is more pressure on your arteries. Your heart has to work harder to push that heavier blood through a tighter space. And it happens silently. You may not feel pain, you may not notice symptoms, but deep inside, your heart is straining. Your kidneys are filtering over time, and your brain is being pressed from within. That's why high blood pressure is called the silent killer. And the truth is, most seniors are eating double or even triple the safe limit, not from the salt shaker, but from what's already hidden inside packaged foods. One of my patients, Dennis, age 73, thought he was eating healthy. He avoided fried food. He never added salt at the table. But he ate canned soups every day for lunch and store-bought sauces with every dinner. His blood pressure was 168/96. He had no idea why, until we looked at his pantry. Once he switched to homemade broth, fresh vegetables, and herbs for seasoning, his numbers dropped by 20 points within 6 weeks. Here's what I recommend. Limit your sodium intake to no more than 1,500 milligrams a day. That's about 2/3 of a teaspoon. Cook at home when you can. Flavor your food with lemon, garlic, rosemary, or black pepper. Avoid frozen meals, instant noodles, and bottled dressings. Your taste buds will adjust, and your arteries will relax. So tell me, what is one salty item you could remove from your kitchen this week? Type it in the comments. And if you are surprised by how much salt is in your food, type the word shocked. Because the truth is, your pantry may be stocked with things that are slowly shortening your life, and it's not too late to change that. 4. Alcohol after 60, the sweet poison. I know what you might be thinking. Come on, doc, one glass of wine a day? That's supposed to be good for the heart, right? That's what we've all been told. Red wine, rich in antioxidants, is good for circulation. And yes, in younger bodies with strong livers and flexible arteries, that might hold. But after 60, everything changes. Your liver doesn't process alcohol the way it used to. It takes longer. It strains harder. And that alcohol lingers in your bloodstream for hours. Meanwhile, your heart, it's trying to keep a steady beat. But even a small amount of alcohol can interfere with that rhythm. It raises your blood pressure. It increases your risk of atrial fibrillation, a dangerous irregular heartbeat. And it weakens your heart muscle over time, especially if you drink daily. Let me tell you about a man I treated 2 years ago. His name was Harold. He was 69, retired, active, didn't smoke, didn't eat junk. But he liked his evening relaxation ritual, 2 glasses of scotch after dinner. He called it his peace, but his heart called it poison. By the time Harold came to see me, he was having palpitations at night. He couldn't sleep. He'd wake up sweating, sometimes dizzy. His EKG showed early signs of atrial fibrillation, and his blood pressure had been creeping up slowly for months, unnoticed. When we removed the alcohol, his sleep returned. His heart rhythm stabilized. His blood pressure dropped within 3 weeks. Now, I'm not saying alcohol is evil, but I am saying this. After 60, your body has different rules. What relaxed you in your 40s could hurt you now. If you already have high blood pressure, heart disease, or take medication, alcohol adds more fuel to the fire. It makes your meds less effective. It messes with your sleep cycles, and it tricks your brain into thinking it's relaxed while your heart is racing. So here's my advice. If you can, stop drinking completely. If you choose to drink, keep it to 1 drink per day. No more. And not every day. Give your heart a break. Let it beat without interference. Let it rest fully at night, because your peace should never come at the cost of your pulse. Tell me, have you ever noticed your sleep gets worse after drinking? Type yes in the comments if you felt that. If not, type still wondering. Either way, this is your chance to listen closer to the rhythm inside you. 5. Bottling up stress when emotions weaken the heart. Let me tell you something most heart doctors don't say out loud. It's not just food. It's not just medication. It's your feelings, the ones you hide, that may be quietly wearing your heart down. I've seen it too often. Someone walks into my clinic with perfect cholesterol, a healthy weight, and clean arteries. And yet, their heart is struggling. So I ask one question, are you holding anything in? There's always a pause. Then they say things like, I don't want to burden my family, or I've always been the strong one, or simply, I just keep it inside. But the body doesn't forget. Your heart feels what your mouth never says. When you bottle up anger, grief, stress, or loneliness, your brain releases stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. And these chemicals do more than just make you feel tense. They increase your blood pressure. They tighten your arteries. They force your heart to beat faster for hours. Do that every day for months or years. That's like keeping your car engine running on red until something breaks. One of my patients, Mrs. Peterson, age 67, lost her husband after 42 years of marriage. She never cried, never talked about it. She said she didn't want to become a problem for her kids. But she started having chest pain, not because of blocked arteries, but because of emotional pressure. We started simple, 10 minutes of deep breathing in the morning, 1 weekly group call with other widows, and writing 3 honest sentences in a notebook before bed. No pills, just permission to feel. Within 6 weeks, her blood pressure dropped, her sleep improved, and most importantly, she smiled again. If you're over 60, I want you to hear me. Strength is not silence, and emotional pain is not harmless. It builds tension in your heart, and over time, it leaves scars you can't see on a scan. So let me ask you this. When was the last time you said out loud what you have been carrying? Type "it's time" in the comments if you know there's something you've been holding inside. And if you've already learned to release it in healthy ways, type "I've healed." Your heart is not just a pump. It's your emotional engine. It deserves peace just as much as it deserves protein, exercise, and medication. Let it rest. 6. Sleep apnea and snoring, a silent threat to your heart. It sounds harmless, doesn't it? Snoring, we laugh about it. We tease each other about it. Some even say it proves you're sleeping well, but if you're over 60 and you snore loudly, or worse, if your partner says you stop breathing for a few seconds during sleep, you might be facing a silent storm, one that builds night after night, and one your heart cannot ignore. This is called sleep apnea. It's more common than you think, and most people don't even know they have it. But your heart knows, because every time your breathing stops during sleep, oxygen drops, your brain panics, your blood pressure spikes, and your heart races again and again all night long. Imagine this happening 30, 40, even 70 times per hour. That's what happens in moderate to severe sleep apnea. Now imagine that happening to a heart already working harder because of age, weight, or stress. That's a recipe for disaster. One of my patients, Leonard, 70 years old, came in with memory problems and morning headaches. He thought it was just aging, but his wife mentioned he gasped for air every night. We did a sleep study. He had severe sleep apnea. Once he started using a CPAP machine, everything changed. His headaches stopped, his focus returned, his blood pressure improved within weeks, and his heart finally got to rest at night. The signs are often quiet. You feel tired during the day. You wake up with a dry mouth. You can't seem to focus like before. You think it's normal aging, but it's not. It's your body crying out for air, and your heart begging for oxygen. Sleep is when the heart repairs, when the brain resets, when your whole system calms and heals. But if your sleep is interrupted 50 times an hour, your heart stays in fight mode all night long. So here's what you can do. If someone tells you that you snore loudly, if you feel exhausted even after 8 hours in bed, talk to your doctor. Ask about a sleep test. It's painless, simple, and life-saving. And if you're already diagnosed with sleep apnea, use the treatment. Whether it's a CPAP machine, mouthpiece, or simple sleep position changes, stick with it. Your heart needs oxygen every single night. So I'll ask you, have you ever woken up gasping for air or with your heart pounding at night? If yes, type yes in the comments. If you're not sure, type need to check, because tonight could be the first night your heart finally rests. 7. Smoking and secondhand smoke. Every puff is a punch to the heart. Let's not sugarcoat this. If you're over 60 and still smoking, every puff you take is not just damaging your lungs, it's directly attacking your heart. And even if you quit 10 or 20 years ago, if someone in your home still smokes, that smoke in your air, in your couch, in your clothes, still enters your bloodstream. Your heart doesn't care who lit the cigarette. It only knows how to react to the chemicals. Here's what happens. The moment you inhale smoke, your blood vessels constrict, your blood thickens, your oxygen levels drop, and your arteries begin to harden bit by bit. That means higher blood pressure, weaker heart muscle, more plaque buildup, and greater risk of heart attack or stroke, even if your lungs feel fine. I once treated a woman named Alma, 64 years old. She had never smoked a day in her life, but her husband smoked inside the house for 30 years. She came to me with shortness of breath and tightness in her chest. We found blockages in her arteries, just like a lifelong smoker. That's how dangerous secondhand smoke is. And for those who still smoke, I know quitting is hard, but let me tell you this, it is never too late. Within 24 hours of quitting, your heart rate begins to normalize. Within 3 months, your circulation improves. Within a year, your heart disease risk drops by half. And within 5 years, it's like you never smoked at all. I've seen patients go from gray and tired to pink and hopeful in a matter of weeks. And all it took was one brave decision. So here's my question to you. If you smoke, do you want your next breath to be a fresh start? Type quit in the comments if you're ready to stop. Type trying if you've tried before and want to try again. And if someone you love still smokes, type support so we can stand with you. Your heart has taken enough punches. Now it deserves peace. 8. Night screens and blue light. When restless sleep damages the heart. Tell me honestly, what's the last thing you look at before falling asleep? For many of my patients, it's the TV screen, the phone, the glowing blue light fills the bedroom. We think it's harmless, just a few minutes of news, a social media scroll, or a quiet movie. But here's what your heart feels. That light tells your brain to stay awake. It blocks melatonin, your natural sleep hormone, and it keeps your heart alert when it should be healing. You see, your heart has a rhythm. It's connected to your sleep-wake cycle. At night, your heart expects to rest, to slow down, to repair the wear and tear of the day. But when your eyes take in blue light after sunset, that rhythm gets confused. Your body thinks it's still daytime. Your heart stays active. Your blood pressure stays elevated. and your stress hormones stay high long into the night. I've seen patients who eat clean, walk daily, take their medications, but they watch TV until midnight or fall asleep with the phone next to their face. And still their blood pressure won't come down. Their hearts race at night. They wake up groggy, even after 8 hours in bed. One of my patients, Mr. Ray, age 74, was doing everything right, except one thing. He watched late-night news every day at 10:30, and he kept the TV on while falling asleep. Once we set a rule, screens off by 9 p.m., a warm shower, a book, or soft music, his blood pressure stabilized within 2 weeks, his sleep improved, and most importantly, he said he felt peace. This isn't about fear, it's about rhythm. And your heart needs rhythm, not just in beats, but in rest. So here's what I want you to try. Tonight, turn off the screens 1 hour before bed, dim the lights, stretch your legs, sip warm water. Let your body know it's time to slow down. If you've tried limiting screen time and felt better, type better sleep. If this is new to you, type will try. Because every night you have a choice to let your heart fight through blue light or let it truly rest in silence. 9. Fried foods and fast snacks. When convenience blocks your arteries, it's quick, it's crispy, it smells amazing, and for a lot of us over 60, it feels like comfort. But let's be honest, fried foods and fast snacks, from French fries to egg rolls to fried chicken, are one of the fastest ways to block your arteries without knowing it. Here's why. When you eat fried food, your body takes in something called trans fats and oxidized oils. These are not just calories, they are chemicals that damage the inside lining of your blood vessels. They trigger inflammation, they thicken your blood, they raise your cholesterol, and over time, they turn flexible arteries into stiff, narrow tubes. I often explain it to patients like this. Your blood is like traffic. Fried foods create potholes and roadblocks, so your heart has to work twice as hard just to get the blood through. One of my patients, Mary, 68, told me she didn't eat much, just a small snack in the afternoon. A handful of fried crackers, some crispy pork skin, just a few bites, but her cholesterol was climbing fast, and she had no idea why. When we replaced those snacks with air-popped popcorn, a few almonds, or fruit slices, her cholesterol dropped in just 6 weeks. No medication changes, just smarter snacks. So here's what I want you to know. After 60, your metabolism slows down, your blood becomes thicker, your arteries are more sensitive, and fried foods are no longer a treat, they're a threat. The worst part? It's not always the big fried meals. Sometimes it's the little things, a fried spring roll, a bag of chips, a few crackers while watching TV, but your heart feels every bite. So what's the fix? Choose baked, boiled, or grilled over fried. Use an air fryer instead of deep oil. Snack on fresh fruit, nuts, or whole grain toast. Ask yourself, this snack feeding my body or slowing my blood down? If you've made one healthy snack swap recently, type switched. If you plan to try this starting today, type will try, because every bite you take becomes part of your blood, and your blood is what keeps your heart alive. 10. Ignoring medications and high blood pressure. The deadliest mistake. This is the one mistake I see more than any other, and it's also the one that breaks my heart the most. It starts with a quiet thought. I feel fine now. Or, my numbers are good so I can stop. Or even worse, I just forgot. But here's the truth. High blood pressure doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't knock on your door. It just builds day by day, silently damaging your heart, your brain, your kidneys. And when you skip your medications, even for a few days, you give high blood pressure the chance to strike. I once had a patient named Charles, 72 years old. He had a good routine, he ate well, walked every morning, took his blood pressure pills, until he ran out and didn't refill them. 4 days later, he was in the emergency room with chest pain. His blood pressure had spiked to dangerous levels, and his heart was struggling. He survived. But he told me something I'll never forget. He said, "Doc, I didn't think missing 4 pills would matter. But it did. It almost cost him his life. Here's what I want you to remember. Your blood pressure medication is not optional. It's not just a suggestion. It's your heart's shield against stroke, against heart failure, against sudden death. And if you ever feel side effects or worry about cost, talk to your doctor. There are always options, different brands, lower doses, assistance programs. But please, don't stop without a plan. Make it easier on yourself. Use a pill box, set an alarm, link it to a daily habit like brushing your teeth. Track your pressure with a home monitor. Write it down, share it with your spouse or children. Because staying consistent doesn't take perfection. It just takes care. So let me ask you, have you ever skipped your heart medication, even just for a few days? If yes, type "I did" in the comments. If you've stayed consistent, type "every day." And if you want help building a routine, type "help me." You've come this far. Your heart has fought for you every day for over 60 years. Don't leave it unprotected now. If you're still with me, thank you. That tells me one thing: you care about your heart and you're ready to protect it. We've talked about salt. We've talked about sitting. We've talked about stress. But above all, we've talked about something more important: your power to choose. After 60, it's easy to feel like the world has already made its decisions for us. But the truth is, every bite, every step, every breath you take still matters. And every small change you make, it echoes deep inside your arteries. Let this be the moment you choose to protect your heart. Not with fear, but with strength, with love, and with hope. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to keep moving forward, one small habit at a time. So now I want to hear from you. What's one thing you'll do differently after this video? Will you swap a snack? Stand up after a meal? Take your blood pressure today? Type your answer in the comments. Your story could inspire someone else. And if you found even one idea helpful, please leave a comment. Send this to someone over 60 who needs to hear it. Subscribe to HeartGuard Seniors, where we protect your heart together. Lastly, if you're ready to keep going on this journey, I have something important for you. Watch this next. This one morning habit damages your heart. What you do before 9 a.m. could be the quiet trigger behind heart attacks, and no one's talking about it. Let's uncover it together.